Florian Wirtz has made the most shock-creating actions for Liverpool in the Premier League this season. Only 3 players have recorded more. And the reason that I bring this up is I want to tie it together with something Steve Nicol has been, well, he only moans, doesn't he? I know that's ironic coming from me. I love a good moan as well. But Steve Nicol, once again, is proving that he's too old school when it comes to looking at football players. And yes, the eye test on a pitch is important, but I think there's more to it. So let me read out what he's had to say, and we'll see if he's just moaning for the sake of it. So, he said that Arne Slot should consider benching Florian Wirtz. This is what he said. So Nicol has been underwhelmed by what he's seen from the 22-year-old so far and has called for Arne Slot to consider redeploying him on the left flank or even dropping him altogether. The ex-Liverpool defender said on ESPN FC, "If we're going to talk about one player who's disappointed the most, I think we'd have to say if every player was brought in to break down a game, this was it today. That, I'm afraid, is Florian Wirtz's job. That's what he was brought in to do. Today, again, he couldn't do it, and he hasn't done it since he's come to the club now. The fact that Liverpool win again probably means that Arne Slot can keep pushing Florian Wirtz in the starting 11 and keep giving him time, hoping that his true form is going to come out. There hasn't been a point where you'd have to bench him. You could try and play him on the left. There has to come a point where Arne Slot has to decide whether Florian Wirtz has to sit on the bench. If that's best for the team, then again, that's why Slot gets paid the big bucks. You have to make tough decisions regardless of who you paid £160 million for and not when they're not producing. That means you have to make a decision, and that can't be that far away, quite honestly. Now, I don't agree. I don't agree at all with Steve Nicol, and here's why I disagree. There's no denying that Florian Wirtz hasn't exactly come in and lit up the Premier League with goals and assists yet. But, again, look at what Benz is saying. Look at the chances created. And if you watch him and watch his performances since he's come into Liverpool and the teams that we've played against, I think I'm seeing enough progression in Florian Wirtz week after week to justify keep playing him and let him play his way into the league. I don't want him dropped. I don't think he deserves to be dropped because anybody would have struggled to create something against that Burnley team. If we had wingers and we were playing in balls to a 6'6" centre forward, maybe we could have found a way to break through. Maybe there was going to be a little ricochet in the box, maybe a worldie from outside or something like that. But it was very difficult because it was very condensed. And if you look at it back, there was some good analysis on Match of the Day too. They gave Liverpool the wide areas. And I kept screaming during the game with you guys here on the watch along to say, width, we need more width. And we did, because Burnley were giving us those areas. But we wasted possession in those areas because of the crosses that we were playing in were aimless. Many of you guys said the right thing. We should have been looking to get to the byline, pull balls back across the 6-yard box and try to create something else that way. So there is a little bit of sense in what Steve Nicol has said. But as always, I think he's over-dramatised it. And I don't think Wirtz has been anywhere near as bad. And what gets me most about Nicol is he's a former Liverpool player, a former Liverpool great, but he seems to take every opportunity to stick the boot in where possible. And I don't understand the mindset of that. As we all know, as Liverpool fans, there is enough people out there trying to undermine Liverpool's transfer business and Florian Wirtz from the outside. Now, I get Steve Nicol's a pundit with ESPN, but let's be honest, he's not the only one out there that hasn't performed as well as we would have wanted so far this season. And just putting more scrutiny on him, I don't like it from a former Liverpool player. So I wish he'd just give it a minute, because we could talk about Mohamed Salah, we could talk about Cody Gakpo, we could talk about other Liverpool players who perhaps haven't had the flying start to the season that we all would have hoped for. So for me, I disagree with Stevie Nicol on it. But I want to ask, are you guys worried at all about the start that Wirtz has had? Are you worried about the start Wirtz has had? Yes or no? It's interesting because, like I said, everybody from the outside wants him to fail. Everybody. Arsenal fans, United fans, City fans, they all want him to fail. And that's normal. I understand that. But we don't need to start this process from within. You know, we don't need to start undermining him, because surely at this point, we remember that some players, yes, come in, hit the ground running. They get used to the league straight away. But the Premier League has been littered with season after season of players who take a while to settle in. Look at Dominic Szoboszlai. I think he's a really good example here. There was times in his first season where we were like, oh, is he there? We're not seeing the same one we've seen at Leipzig. But now if you ask any Liverpool fan this season, I think most of them would say that Dominic Szoboszlai has been our most valuable player, our most indispensable player. But it took him a little bit of time to get up to the levels, to keep up his high energy performances for 90 minutes in the Premier League. That took some getting used to. And I think the same applies for Wirtz. Matteo said, will people chill on Flo? As far as I'm concerned, you can't judge him till the knockout to the Champions League. He will be fine. I agree. I look, would have liked a goal or an assist or two. You know, like any player coming in. Can't argue about that, Matteo. But I'm also with you on this. Time, chill, relax. We're winning games of football. You know, if we were losing games of football and we were slipping on the league table, or, you know, we weren't where we wanted to be, then maybe the pressure mounts. But when you're winning, surely this is exactly the time to be letting this grind itself out as you're picking up these results come hell or high water. Haley said, Flo will love that he's learning a new league, the pace, new team. He's doing great. Robbo took 7 months before we saw him much, said Boeing Zibidi. Yeah, really good point, mate. I remember that myself. Yeah, and I think there were other players as well who Jurgen took months before he'd really start to trust in. So yes, there's no denying Florian Wirtz came in with a big reputation and a big price tag. But this narrative just feels like it's over the top for some people with Flo. Christina said, Flo will never settle in and get used to how the team is playing if we drop him. Give him time to rest and learn. Even Mo said it takes time. Exactly. Spot on. And it will. And I've got no doubts. And do you know what, Christina and everybody else? I've seen progression watching him play. And, you know, we spoke about the first couple of games. He was getting caught in possession, taking too long on the ball. Wasn't used to the speed of the league. Maybe not even used to the physicality of the league. But I've seen quickness in his game improving. I've seen him being able to find and take up positions and pockets of space better over the last few games. So honestly, I think he's not too far away from getting to where we want to be. Small margins at top level sport, and I really do feel like he's not too far away. There was actually a good piece last night around Mohamed Salah as well on Match of the Day too, and they were talking about him doing some of the right things, but it's that last bit that just isn't happening. And again, I think there's some sense to that. It's just, I guess, with Liverpool looking so all-conquering with the transfer business we've done, being the defending champions, and that weight of expectation, people are going to try and undermine it because, of course, nobody wants us to walk away with a league title again, or nobody wants it to be a procession. Everybody wants that Arsenal-Liverpool title race or Manchester City to be back in. And it feels like sometimes these people are almost wishing failure on us. Zach, how are we, Zach? Said, I don't mind rivals hating on Wirtz. We're the same with Rice, Caicedo, etc. We know he's going to come good. And when he does, it'll be a long few years for those in the league. Yeah, you're right, Zach. It is their job to try to undermine us. That's why I'm saying about the situation with Steve Nicol. I don't think we should be looking to do it from inside, and Steve Nicol being a former player, I wish he'd just be a little bit more understanding, supportive, upbeat, any of those words. Said, Isak will help Wirtz, will be scary when it happens. Yep. I can't wait, mate, honestly. I can't wait till we see all of these guys out there together, or even the options Ireland is going to be able to have from the bench. You know, we know the 6 forwards that we have. You don't need me to list them off, but imagine any combination of those coming off the bench. It really does give us a chance to change things up this season. And Wednesday should be hopefully Isak night, where we finally get to see him on the pitch doing something in a Liverpool shirt. So I'm buzzing for it, and it will be scary when it happens. You're right. 76% of the over 2,100 people that voted said they aren't worried about Florian Wirtz. And thank you to everyone that took the time to vote. I would be in the same camp.